the Kerberos. Kerberos is the secure ticket-based network authentication protocol. Authentication protocol. The main purpose of this Kerberos is to provide network security. Provide network security. This Kerberos avoids the problem of password passing through insecure networks. So the main aim of this Kerberos is to avoid the problem of passwords traveling through the insecure networks. So here, the main aim, the other main aim of Kerberos is to support the single sign-on. What do you mean by single sign-on? Nothing but here, login only once. Login only once can access many services, multiple services, like using of emails, using of databases, using of other services. Okay, so it avoids the replay attacks. Replay attacks. What do you mean by replay attacks? They are nothing but may try to have the data which has been logged in by the user previously. That is, previously logged in data can be accessed. That is the meaning of replay attacks. So the replay attacks are replay. Okay. So these are the main features of your Kerberos. So in order to develop this Kerberos concept, we have the components. The components of your Kerberos are: first one is file, second one is server, third one is KDC. Okay, KDC stands for Key Distribution Center. Okay, this Key Distribution Center is going to provide the authentication facility by having two features in it, that is authentication server and ticket granting server. So here, the person or the user makes the request for the service. The server is nothing but providing the services to the client. So before giving the services to the client, it has to pass through the KDC. So the KDC is going to perform the authentication at both the sides, that is at client side and the server side, by following these two methods we need. That is authentication server, the other is ticket granting server. Let's see the steps. Let's see the steps of or working of your Kerberos. That is working of Kerberos. Okay? Yes. Working of Kerberos. The first step here is user, that is client. Client enters. Okay? Enters username and password in order to access the service. But the password is not sent through the network. Okay? The password is not sent through the network. The second here is whenever the user makes a request by entering the username and password. Okay? But the client is requesting for verification from authentication. Okay, authentication server. Now the third step here is the authentication server is the component of KDC. The authentication server verifies the user details. Verifies the user details. Then the authentication server, after verifying, generates or issues ticket granting ticket. The other one here is the session encrypted session key. Okay. Once the ticket granting ticket is generated, it is taken by the client. That is, the client receives the ticket granting ticket. Okay. Then found. Okay. By using ticket granting ticket. Okay. By using ticket granting ticket, he asks for service. That is nothing but request for the service. Okay. Now, by using the TGT, is asking for the service. So this TGT is sent to the TGS. That is ticket granting server. The ticket granting server verifies the TGT and issues service ticket. Issues service ticket. Once the service ticket is generated, this service ticket is used by the client. That is, the client uses service ticket and request for the service. Okay. Now the server, that is, server verifies service ticket and grants the access. Now the client can directly communicate with the server and perform the operations by using only single service ticket. Okay. The best example for this Kerberos in real time here is, that is, watching the movie in the theater. So before entering the theater, first we need to take some proofs, your identity proofs, to the that is ticket counter. Then ticket counter verifies the identity proof. Then only is going to generate the ticket. So by using the ticket, the user is going to enter into the screen. There, the screen that is the entry point is going to check all these details and allows to screen or the green. Okay. This is about it. Now we have till now we discussed about the purpose of Kerberos and the components of your Kerberos and also working of Kerberos. Now let's see the features of Kerberos. The first feature of Kerberos here is, okay, it provides the network security. Okay, that is providing the authentication features. It is going to follow two-step verification by using the authentication server and also TGP concept, TGS server. Okay. The second point here is, it uses a concept of symmetric encryption. What do we mean by the symmetric encryption? Nothing but data. Before sending into the network any data or any request for any service, this is going to provide the security by encrypting, by using the encryption algorithms. Okay. The third one is, it supports the mutual authentication at both sides. That is, it performs authentication at server side and also at client sides. We also discussed about, that is, replay attacks. It is going to avoid the replay attacks. It avoids the replay as well. We discussed that what is replay attacks, nothing but the previously logged in data is going to be used by the attacker. So this can also be erased or removed. Okay. The other one is single sign. Okay. What is it by a single sign on? By entering your login details once and accessing multiple services. Okay. So here the main components here is of your calculus here is KDC. KDC stands for Key Distribution Center. Okay. It is having again two concepts, that is authentication server and TGS, ticket granting server. Okay. So without this we can't develop the calculus.